Well, in this video I will be answering myself a question you did not ask, but I'm gonna go for it. Because it's just a proof, it's just about the stuff that went on here in Slovenia, and it's not really answering anybody a question, but it's providing more evidence, criminal evidence about who, how was here, what went on with these people here. It was not only about the skiing and stuff, it was about all kinds of other stuff. If you will take this, Prince Charles actively traveled to Slovenia with Andrew, with Edward, with the Princess Anne, and oftentimes he was sent on a mission to prove himself by the Prince Phillip. This is a Prince Phillip. His father demanded him to prove himself not to be an idiot, and threw him in a competition with the Japanese, with Swiss, with well, he had to start somewhere, and his original profession when it comes to the political world, something that royals love to sport politicians with, it was a world of watches. This is like the thing, like something to drive people crazy, get their attention, take attention away from them, and even make money with it. Do you believe this stuff? It's funny because Charlie presented himself as somebody who doesn't care about the watches. So the late stages of MK Ultra, he was using Prince Harry and Prince William to sport the watch, which he threw on a table, and it was like Parmigiani or whatever it was. He advertised Prince Charles wristwatch Parmigiani, I think is the name. He's got this watches right here. Did you see? I didn't even ever, other than the watch that you see on the internet, I didn't give a fuck about what this guy was wearing. I actually was quite angry. Yeah, it is true. I remember this one, I remember that one, and I remember this too. This is Patek Philippe. Parmigiani is the last one. Yeah, so that was the last, was the Parmigiani, because he established the company and called one Parmigiani. Basically gave somebody money to open the company with the name Parmigiani, whatever. Just like this is how it was. The governments of this, wherever they made the watch, they barely waited for the opportunity to, oh no, it's not going to do it, really. They barely waited for the opportunity for something like this to happen, because it's an easy thing. It's an easy thing. You help your watchman manufacture, and in return you get a favor from the British government, whichever way they pay you. This is here, Swiss mates here, Parmigiani, Swiss Parmigiani. But today I'm not going to be talking about the Parmigiani. I will be talking about his royal mental illness, sickness. As I said, I will be answering this question here. This is just going to be part one. It's going to be a very short video, and then it's going to be part number two. It's actually the watch I have that supposedly was given to me by the Charles. However, on opportunity, unfortunately for the Charles, it's not about how much is the watch is worth. It's not about, it's a really good looking watch, honestly. But how much it costs. It's not about how much it costs or whatever, but the way this watch was presented to me, it's got a lot to do with that. It was not presented in a proper way. That's one thing. And this is not going to be the video I will be talking to you about. I don't actually have legitimate proof even that the watch that was given to me by the Charles. Although it was Prince Charles, now your King Charles, who claimed that it's his watch, that he gave me the watch. He did an extensive evaluation of me through MK Ultra on what type of watches appeals to me, and etc, etc, etc. Likewise with the cars, etc, etc, etc. But this is not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be answering this question here. This is just going to be part number one. The part number two is going to blow your mind about his royal mental illness. Here is what I have to say about the world of watches pertaining to the princess. So you see, I mean, you can go and you can say, oh no, I don't know this guy. They're not saying this. They're not saying this. This is exactly what the Charles said. He said, no, we're never going to say that we don't know you. Because there's just so many proofs out there that it's crazy, insane amount of proofs. The silence answers the questions in the world of royals. Organized crime, corruption, that's how they murder people. That's the world of royals. And so, in this royal illness video, I'm going to present you, as I already explained, much of about what this man was doing in order for Prince Philip. You see, this stuff that I talk about is already, I mean, you're going to say that you didn't meet me. You're going to say this case did not exist. I know so much about the politics. I've seen it so much, and I have seen it thanks to them. I'm not going to even say that it was just, these people didn't have to take time to show me this stuff. But it just happened, so they did. They did it. And I did. There is something they cannot deny. It's undeniable. I did absolutely everything possible in this world to avoid collision with these people. You have to admit that the stuff that you see right here as the header of this blog really did not have to happen if it was for me. I tried to do my best to look the other way, find some way, somehow disappear into the darkness somehow, just so that I could have my start and so on, but it didn't work. The more you run away from them, the more they get obsessed to kill you, actually. It looks like a joke, but they actually do kill you. They always look like a joke. When the royals kill, the whole thing always looks like a joke, because they don't want to be seen as a killer, as a ruthless killers. That's for what they are. They don't want to be seen like that. They always want to look the whole thing innocent and, oh, well, you know, we try to help in that sense. This guy he had to prove himself as a seller, as a watch seller. And he was trying to hide this stuff away from me. He made an arrangement with the AliExpress. These are the watches I'll be talking to you about. This here. This. Yeah, you can get them for dirty cheap. You can get them for €4 from AliExpress. €5 from AliExpress you can get them for. And it could be it's his brand, actually. It could be it's his private brand. They were a lot in the watch business. They were collecting the money. They were earning the money with the watches. Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew. Let me see. This was a famous Seiko seller. Yeah. This is a famous Seiko seller. Yeah, he landed. He became even a Seiko seller, and but his tip-top ping pong. He was selling a Rolex. He was selling a Rolexes. Jaguars, Rolls Royces, and stuff like that. He would stop for sheikhs, kings, meet with them, arrange with them a pickup and stuff like this together with the Charles. It all depended on who the buyer was, you know. The most sophisticated buyers would be meeting probably with a Phillip, and you know, it all depended. This were sellers. The Prince Philip spotted them as sellers. They had to prove themselves as sellers, and well, they had the best teachers the world could possibly could provide for them to to do their royal jobs. They had to be sellers because it's about the weaponry, it's about the wars. You have to learn how to sell the wars. You know, the sales that take sometimes 20, 30 years in making. And watch business was just one of the things, a little thing that, well, there was this company. I don't know whether the company was in Switzerland or was in Germany. I believe the company originally was in Switzerland, in Schweiz. Let's go see a little bit this map, the Swiss map. And this company, this Swiss company was with a guy, the Swiss guy. I have no idea who the fuck this guy was. A manufacturer, I don't know. It was quite secretive in that sense. All through Swiss watchmakers were all involved in this stuff. I don't know if all, but many of them. This Schweiz watchmaker, German, this was a German guy, is whom they were buying these watches from. And in the late stages, he might have settled, actually even in Germany, he might have moved to the Germany. So this was the main connection. Like if you want to, let's say, buy a watch directly from the royals, this is what you watch right now. If you wanted to buy a watch directly from the royals, then it would be resold to you through a Swiss, let's just say, manufacturer, you know, watchmaker. Hey, they had little Bobs also in Britain that I was meeting with, all kinds of people from the watch business, watchmaking, that they had contracts with and so on. But the watch I will be talking to you about is this here. The watch that you already have seen, the collection, it's just going to be personal because I said it's going to be about a royal illness, mental illness. And what you're watching here is one of the collections that, one of many, that Prince Andrew would deliver to a city of the Novomesto. On behalf of Prince Philip, he would go and he would start sell watches here in Slovenia. He would sell watches. These are not cheap watches. I don't know how much this watches costed. I'm going to get to that issue. How much really the cost for this watch was, I don't know. I'm going to give you estimates, and you're going to make your own mind about this stuff. But this was the guy who delivered back in the day, a young Charlie. He would be, everybody would be. Edward, Andrew. It all depended whom you want to buy the watch from. You want to buy the watch from the younger kid. You want to buy the watch from a little older kid. Adult, actually, not really kid, but. Or you want to actually buy a watch from somebody like Prince Philip. This were the opportunity for you if you wanted to buy from the royals that were available for you. That's what you want to do. They were not choosy. They would take people that had money. They would accept those people. I understand the watch that also bought from him was also the Chertalic, Joseph, local self-employed in a socialist republic, Yugoslavia, state, country. Joseph Chertalic, who became my employer, also bought a watch from him. There was quite a few people that would buy the watches from these people here. However, the watches from these people are very, very expensive. They were not cheap under any circumstances. Whether you want us to buy a watch from them, it easily could run you 5,000 euros or maybe 5,000 Swiss francs or 5,000 Deutschmarks. I have no idea what it was. I think it had something to do with the 5,000 German marks or pounds. I had no fucking idea what they, particularly the watch that you see here. I think that particularly was the cost for the watch. It might have been a real gold, whatever the case was. It sold very well. It was the watch that Prince Charles sported with. I will get to the details. All in all, these people made, just by coming in our house, selling these watches, astronomical amounts of money. Of course, that this was not the money that they would, you know, but it paid for the trips, it paid for the, you know, it helped. Okay, it helped along the way, that's for sure. And they were selling for watches way more than that. Rolex. This is not one of the most expensive watches. I think they said 5,000 euros or I mean, German marks or pounds or American dollars or whatever the case might have been. Okay, so the people bring in the money in a suitcases, buying this shit. I had a doctor here, there was even one or two doctors they purchased here from the Novo Mesto city that purchased at least similar watch to what you see here. So that must have been a real gold, whatever the case was. This was the longest selling watch of all the watches that Prince Charles, now your King Charles, delivered into our house in the city of the Novo Mesto. Exactly what you see here. And you have not seen this watch. You have not seen this watch anywhere on the internet. You have not seen this stuff anywhere on the internet. Well, his personal choice was very, very smart in a sense of selling things. Very shrewd, basically, and based on instructions of Prince Phillip. His main watch was this one here. His main watch was this one here. This was a Prince Charles watch. He was not much of a metal watch band. Oh, he was. But this was his main thing. This was his stuff that he sported with. This was the one that he sported around with. And every one of these royals had a different. This is a Prince Philip. He wanted me to talk about him. He didn't want me to talk about the Philip. Or, let's say, he definitely did not want me to talk about Prince Philip or Prince Andrew, let's say. He didn't want me to talk about that stuff. Okay? This was like, they would give themselves like, who managed to get where, you know, in a sense. Who managed to get how far, if you understand me what I'm saying. I might be mistaken about the Prince Andrew right there. That's a bit too good maybe for him. Yeah, that's definitely too good for Prince Andrew. That's too good for Prince Andrew. It's definitely too good for the Prince Andrew. And I did not prepare myself for the Prince Andrew. Shit. What the hell do we do with this? Now this one really got me by surprise. The Prince Andrew watch. Well, yeah, the Prince Andrew watch would just be okay. It's correct right there. That's Prince Andrew, and that's Prince Edward right there. Yeah, we will be fine with this stuff. It's exactly based on assortment, just like this. Yeah, just basically just like this. Just the proper way of doing the stuff. Prince Charles liked what you see right there, but when he was younger, he didn't like chain. He didn't mind like metal chain, band, watch band, and then his taste started to change a little bit into the leather like that, just like the one you see right here, that kind of stuff. Yeah. What about the manipulation? How was the manipulation? With the manipulation was like this. I am just gonna take this stuff here. He always was searching for my approval and disapproval. Always. And it was like this, that he also sported this watch, like this. I think that the second one, the second Charles watch that he sported around me, and he sported both of those metal watches right there that you see, okay. But then he tactically changed this into this thing here, okay. He tactically changed this into what you see here. So why would he do that kind of stuff? He realized that I don't have the fucking watch. Everybody was buying himself fucking watches. People were coming with the fucking suitcases of the money. And that's the way it was. And the only thing who didn't have shit, that was me, basically. So he was asking me about it, what kind of watch and all this stuff and so on and so forth. And then he basically made up his own mind, and he said, how about this one? How about this one? And he was breaking me down the value of these watches. He was teaching me what's worth it more, which one is complete gold or whatever that was, and which one is less gold in that sense. And started to push for the face that did not have a gold. I should say a case. This is a watch case. What you see here is a watch case. This is a watch case. The metal, this either a stainless steel or whatever might be the case, whatever was used. It was not gold. It was like silver, either plated or whatever the case might have been. And I said, this is in order for me to give you the respect, I will wear this kind of watch. He did this after initial sales. You know, it would make good sales, and then it would start to goof around, you know, with different watch and this and that. They would not even, from the beginning, they wouldn't show this kind of stuff. When mostly the main thing was this here. This was the main stuff. It was all about the gold, man. These guys that were coming in our house were presidents, prime ministers, and even some crazy physician would go and purchase this stuff. We had this in the city of the Novo Mesto. 2, 3 of them. This is true. This is the way it is. Quite fascinating, isn't it? In some other countries, Slovenia, not even a country back then, Yugoslavia actually. This was in Yugoslavia. This is like you would travel to the Poland, or you would travel to, I don't know, Romania or something like that. And it would happen in one house over there like this. There was no Slovenia, there was no Croatia back then, there was none of that. This was just the republics. And they would go for a hiking with me around, take me around, walk. And then what he would do is, my goodness, it already felt like it was very bad in the school with me. It was really, I suffered depression, major and stuff like this. The violence was so overwhelming, the whole fucking thing, with the teachers also and everything, that it was just too much for me. Then he would be using this kind of violence to get close to me and side with me even more. Eventually the watch like this came on a picture. Now let me see this here. I did kind of stuff. Okay. Eventually, my goodness, even this kind of watch would come on a picture. And he presented me, oh my God, what I have, you know, what I have. This is a great news, it's a great thing, you know, you're going to see what I have and so on. He would come and this and that. And I would go with him. And I remember the location where this stuff was. He would take me to this bridge here. It's not too far. This was quite like this location here, a hiking place, trail. This is along the Krka River, and he started to entertain me about the watch that I demonstrated here. That's not golden watch at all. As it looked already, really looked like as if he's going to give me the watch. Just really, it already looked like he's going to give me the watch. Shows me the watch here. This bridge, I remember. Then I went walking with him and so on. And we walked like this, under MK Ultra, drugged up basically, along the Krka River. You know, back and forth. And it was very positive vibe for me. This watch came out sometimes. He came up with this watch sometimes in let's just say like in 1984. 1984 was this watch that came out. And this was 1984. Actually, even earlier than that, 1984. 1983, I would say. 1982, 1983, he came up with this watch. 1982, I would say. And yeah, probably was like 1980. I maybe a little bit go too far. 1983. I'd say about 1983 that he came up with this watch. And it must have been in the 6th grade of the grammar school. So that must have been in 1984. We go out here in the bridge. He is actually sportaging this watch here. He is sportaging me this watch here. At that opportunity, he's sportaging me this watch here. And it makes me feel that I'm going to finally get my fucking watch. That I'm going to get one watch like this. You have no fucking idea how many watches these people sold inside of our house, in front of me. How's this? This was not the first place. It was the same in all their house. They would bring the stuff and they would sell the fucking stuff, whatever the hell they would bring. It didn't matter even how much it costed, whatever the fuck it was. The money came. If nobody else, Josip Broz Tito was always the first one that would get to the table. Josip Broz Tito was always the first one that would see the things. After he would see the things, then it would be everybody else in Yugoslavia that could get his fingers on. I don't remember any ladies buying shit. Jovanka Broz, maybe. It was Jovanka Broz, that's basically his wife, that she would be at the table. I was at the table, and then you would have a Prince Phillip, and Charles also would join and so on. But the main person from the beginning, The Josip Broz Tito was actually Prince Philip, was not even Prince Charles. Prince Charles would come in, as he would call him. When they were inside of the room, they were with a Prince Philip. And Prince Charles would only come inside a room, or Andrew, or whatever. Anne, I don't know about the Anne. Anne was like a cat. Anne was very tactical. Anne just made herself home. Anne was one of the first that was allowed more than Charles actually to stay inside. This is the way the fuck it was. Prince Philip did not tolerate boys too much. Not Charles, not Andrew, not Edward. They were to stay outside of the business, outside of the kitchen, waiting to be called. This is the way this stuff was. This is the way this stuff was. We go way back in time. We go to our house here, other house in the center of the city. There was a discipline the Prince Philip had, and you just don't jump. You just don't go just like this inside. You don't enter unless you called. You enter when you called, when it's your right to come in. This house here is a location that was not mainly used. During this house here, it was other housing that was also used, like housing of Boris Andrianic, for instance, that was a Krka director. That's where Josip Broz Tito would also go. There were other houses also where they were meeting. But they had me next to them religiously. With the house that you see right there is one of them. This is from the Krka director housing. So if Prince Philip called Charles to go inside, then the Charles would come. This is the way it was. Unfucking believable, unbelievable stuff. The Princess Anne oftentimes gave company, and Charles also would. The two would be like two cats. It would be like, like the cat is moving around the hot chimney. This is the it's not really a chimney, but a fireplace, Let me see that stuff. How would that look like? Yeah, they call this a chimney. They also call it a chimney. Really, fireplace is more suitable, but okay. It was just, hanging in there, just very, very silently, Andrew would say to me, we're not allowed to go inside in there. We're not allowed to go inside in there. When they have this stuff and so on. This is the way this stuff was, ladies and gentlemen. This is the way this stuff was long fucking time ago. Long time ago. 1975, 1976, 1977. This is the way this stuff was. The Charles was more mature than Andrew. Andrew was considered as a boy, literally, like foolish, like in a sense, like with your youth, you could disturb the politicians, you could disturb this elites they hosted. You could only enter if your father allowed you to come in. Actually, she called you, requested you. And this is exactly also, it was the same with the Charles. Charles is much older than Andrew. He is 77. This one is 65. But this guy essentially is not much older than I am. I mean, I'm 54 years old, but this one is 11 years old older than myself. And yes, of course, I'm talking about, let's say, 1975, when I was, let's say, 3 years and something old. This guy was just 14. Charles was already a much older guy. 1975, I was already 4 years old. Imagine. And this guy was already 15 years old. 1980, with me being already 9 years of age. And this one, already 20 years old. He was still considered as a boy, as a young, and disrespectful, basically. For him to just enter just like this was disrespectful. Prince Phillip had an age limit when it comes to the politicians. He would allow, there's a younger one, and that's Edward. Oh, he's no more in the picture. Damn it. This one is 7 years old, older than myself. He's 61 now. What a young man, youthful man. This one would not still see much, you know, but he had a quiet personality. He had a quiet personality. He looked a little bit strange. He looked a little bit suspicious to the KGB people. I liked him around me anyways, but for the KGB people, he was a little bit suspicious. It's the way he looked. With those small eyes. No, he was a young man. I'm just kidding. It's just, but this is really the way it was. Every fucking thing was suspicious, except me. That's a good thing in a certain way when you're drugged up around the people like this. People like this are so fucking crazy, boy. The politicians. Oh, Lord. You know what the terror about this fucking Eastern European politicians? They're 3/4 fucking crazy. 3/4 fucking crazy people that not only they see all kinds of shit in the people that does not, of course, exist anywhere, but they're fucking right about whatever the fuck they see. If they see that they see in you whatever spirit or whatever the fuck it is, it might be like that, or off with the head of an individual who claims it's not like this, because he himself becomes a subject of suspicion. These were the days that. Why was it like this? Because it was a form of governing like this. This is how they governed in the Soviet Union. This is how the Russians governed in the Soviet Union. This is how Serbs governed across the Yugoslavia and so on. And Serbs did not even like any of this shit here, because they didn't want any of this stuff. They did not like the fucking idea about the foreigners meeting Slovenian people. If the foreigners were meeting, they were supposed to meet Serbs, not the Slovenes or the Croats. It was a fucking jealousy, and the jealousy was based on the territorial pretensions. So the Serbs naturally did not want any kind of foreigners in Yugoslavia meeting with non-Serbs. It was just a form of control. The people are not even aware that their relatives that were coming from the Germany or France or Britain or wherever they would be coming from the work, they would become a suspicious, an enemy element in their own homes, basically, with their own relatives. Today, nobody knows about that stuff no more. People no longer remember about what this Yugoslav fuckhole was. Today, people don't want to remember anything at all. It is amazing the stuff that Slovenian people have observed was done to me by the Serbs. And not only by the Serbs, but also others that were here from Yugoslavia that supported this Yugoslav Serbian regime. It was Croats and Bosnians and Macedonians, all kinds of people that supported Serbs, and they would do the same thing. And if you would say something, you would be in a trouble. But the thing is that once the Slovenian independence came, things didn't change at all. That's when the Slovenian people were actually looking away for a way to hurt me, so they could earn their careers, jobs, real estate through Milan Kučan, through the selected new old option which appeared in Slovenia. Even more criminal than it was during Yugoslavia. Situation which clearly suggests me even today when I see this, that if somebody say Yugoslavia is coming back, tomorrow it's going to be Yugoslavia, we already had agreed upon, the people be like about their neighbors whom during Yugoslavia they watch torture. They be like, oh, that's fine, I didn't have any kind of problem with my neighbor Srđan or whatever. If you understand me what I'm saying, I don't have any kind of problem. It's like what they do is they look upon themselves if they got into the conflict with some Serbian, even during the independent Slovenia. God forbid somebody would stand up for what they claim is their independence and nationality and so on. These are nothing other than northern Serbs. That's the Slovenes. So I'm giving you a little bit in and out how this stuff was. Prince Phillip would not allow kids inside during the political debates. I was by myself with the Phillip, and you know, I had this kind of stuff going on. And then you would have maybe Anne, and we would be expecting the visits. When it comes to Charles, Queen, Anne, your dear Queen, Edward, Andrew, they would live with us. This was their home, actually. This is how welcome they were. This is what is the fucking fuckliest thing about this mental illness here from London. This is the fuckliest thing about these people. They live with us. Their doors, our doors to them were always open. This was their home. This was their place. This is where they would crash if they needed to sleep over. Isn't that fucking insane? Isn't that fucking insane? This was their home. When there would be a politicians, literally, the politicians would be coming in our home where the royals already would be. Isn't that fucking crazy? I think that's very fucking crazy. Imagine to have a home here that's actually not your home, but you have a family that welcomes you, is happy to have you here. I was the one who was like this, and father as well as mine listened to me. And what would happen is you would have Josip Broz Tito coming for a visit to you, politicians, all kinds of politicians also from other countries. You're going to have an important visit. Huh? What do you think about this shit? You see, I said what the mental illness is. This for me is a definition of the mental illness here. This is a fucking definition of the fucking mental illness. This is a king of the mental illness. And I mean, but when I say king of the mental illness, he's fucking insane. Ill. Very, very mentally ill. Because I cannot even imagine that person would be evil like this. It's an illness. He is cheap. He's very cheap. But it's about other things too. It's more about those other things than being cheap. This is fucking ugly cheap. Sick. When you put somebody in life danger like these people did for 54 years, you know you are a craziest motherfucker, the fucking sickest person mentally, the mentally illest person in the world. You know that you are the mentally illest person in the world. And the thing is, it's Harry, it's William, the same shit. The kids that once would tell me at the table in the Britain, there I'm gonna be, you're gonna be so rich. I don't know, 50 billion pounds, whatever. Billion pounds. It was so meaningful to me that I had young kids like this that actually want me to have something. Just them saying that you're gonna have this and so on. It was so fucking meaningful to me. They knew how to get it. They were, when that happened, they were little kids. With Princess Diana, that I spent a lot of time around the two, around the Harry and William with the Princess Diana. And it was so meaningful to me that they want, that it was so wishful that for me to want to have good. Even if I wouldn't get anything. But the way they took the Harry and William, the way they said to me, you're going to be very, we heard about you, this and so on, you're going to be very rich and so on. This was so meaningful to me. It was so meaningful to me. This is all part of the hypnosis. This whole fucking thing, it's a hypnosis. It's a state of hypnosis. It's not a hypnosis from the point of view, from the drugs, from MK Ultra drugs. They use the drugs, certain drugs, to drug you up. But from the point of view that they have ability, the psychology point of view, that they climb in your pants, literally make you feel like, you know, they're not, like you're part of them, you're part of your family. This is what I say about when I say hypnosis. They're hypnotists. They know how to get in your pants. They know how to court you in such a way so that you feel that you would really betray them if you would stand up for yourself. This is a form of seduction. It's a form of taking everything away from you. Absolutely every aspect that applies to a human being. It's a school that is a lifelong school of brainwash. They screw you up in the head like you wouldn't believe this stuff. Now you're going to say, no, so then they are not mentally ill. They are mentally ill. They are mentally ill. They're fucking manipulators. They're manipulators. This is what I meant when I say hypnotists. And they're fucking mentally ill. From all those 50 plus billion pounds, dollars, whatever they advertise me, price changed into a different price later on. Prince Phillip started to, Prince William started to advertise, started to talk about, I don't know, a few billions of dollars, gesturing that he himself has a 20 billion or something like that, in that sense. They keep changing the money. They keep changing the money, twisting the money, making you ill, sick, in that sense. Sickening you. The same shit was with the watches. With everything was like this. At one point, there was a whole Canada that I will get the kingdom of that I will be a king of the Canada. Then western part of the Canada. Then they negotiate over there with some Indian tribes and I don't know, French people that they're gonna give me part of the Canada, fucking islands and northern part of the Canada and back and forth, crazy, sick shit. That they owe me as much as I don't know which company that was. It goes to fucking trillions of dollars. And involved other countries, and it's gonna be fucking money so much. A fucking fantasy land. Which purpose is exactly what I specified right here. It's so well written. Depart on the other world just as I arrived to this world. This shit started when I was few months of age. And the way you go is but basically the same fucking way as you arrived to this world through this scum. What it started as a torture should have been a life. And the way you go is but basically you wave goodbye through a reminders on a torture that you describe and are forced to revive while struggling with a cancer. And I know for sure there is at least one type of cancer. I will make a video about this cancer stuff, the way it was. Through the like 4 hours of sleep, and you fade away little by little. Yes, without ever knowing even what the fuck you live for. This is the mental illness I am talking about. These are not cheap only. These are mentally ill. This watch is what fucking dirty cheap. This shit here. Based on what I learned. They were cheap. And there were people that was showing me here in the city of the Novo Mesto. It was more than two doctors that purchased. It was several people from the Novo Mesto city that along the way managed to save the money and purchased from King Charles, from the royals or Phillip, watches that he delivered to the Novo Mesto city. Royal watches. It was like this. It's people here in the city of the Novo Mesto. It is like this. They just don't want to step forward. These were the people that were so sweet. They fucking loved me so much. They were coming inside the house because of me. They were buying the watches because of me. Everything in this world, everything for you, everything because of me. Anyhow, the way this stuff, the appropriate age, would you have somebody like a Lech Walesa on a visit, or you have somebody like some Soviet president on a visit, some Czechoslovakian president, the appropriate or whatever person, the proper age to mingle with somebody like Prince Philip, that you would start to mingle with would be like over 30. This was the only suitable were Princess Anne and Prince Charles. Not even they were suitable at the beginning. This is still a young people. Charles is 77 now. It's about 23 years older than myself. Well, yeah, somewhere over there, somewhere. And even the two, they would be only if Philip would allow them to come in. They were still too young. They were still too young to mingle with these older political people, with these older figures that they would be inside. Lech Walesa is actually relatively young when it comes to the politicians that would be mingling with us. This is older generation. They did not like younger people. They did not like younger people. It was when it comes to Josip Broz Tito and so on, they had a law that they be mingling with the people of their own age. Prince Philip was younger. He already was young with the people when compared to the people that they were meeting with. So this was just not. Gotta be very careful if you wanted the things to go the right way. And only if the signal was given, then they could be and mingle inside. Otherwise, not. It's quite interesting, huh? Because that's British and all that, and it was like these things. This is the way this stuff was, and the proper age, they would not even consider you if you were their kid. Before you were 18, they wouldn't even bring you around much. Maybe when the talks, negotiations were over, or whatever the fuck they had going on, like etc. You know, under etc. you could meet them at the end of this. Maybe, by the way, this is blah blah. You know, oh hello, nice to see you again, and so on. You know, that kind of stuff. That's basically, this is the way this stuff was. This was not only Charles. This is not only Philip, it was other royals also that would come. I did not even spoke about them. There's a whole many other British royals that were involved in this stuff. I just am taking on a visible politicians and on a visible royals. I'm just giving you somewhat the description about the stuff that went on. What I described is not even fucking 10% of the stuff that went on. I outlined only the major things. This is how giant this thing was. And so, what else I would say about all this stuff? Excellent hypnotists. What started with the first watch really that Prince Charles wanted to make impression with was this one here. This was a golden with a golden band, with a golden, everything was golden. And I don't know how that was, but it was very, very flashy. And Charles traded that one for this one here. Charles was a psychologist. He was reading expressions of the people, including on mine. And he paid a lot of attention to my expression, how I see it is. And he settled for this one here. This is the way it was. That's exactly the way it was. And then he settled for this one. And finally in that bridge, he settled for this one. And suggested that I did not want him to have a beautiful watch. Son of a bitch. He did the business, he did the stuff. Then we go to this bridge here, and the son of a bitch pulled the trick. Want to make me excited that I thought that this is going to be finally, that he's got a watches, and so on. He was not the only one, it was others with him, locals here. So he was talking to them and started to believe that I was envious of his watches. I was not envious of his watches, but yeah, I sure wanted to have my fucking watch. I wanted to have some fucking watch. Watching 100 watch sales without having one fucking watch. Seeing thousands of watches and having one fucking watch, and very expensive watches, Rolexes. Watches for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, and not having one single fucking watch, single shit. Man, this shit went on for years, for so many fucking years, and nothing, not a fucking watch that somebody would say, here is your fucking watch. I am give you the watch. My name, not my name is Charles, but here I am. I mean, here, have the fucking watch. It would be so meaningful, you know, that you would get from your special friend. And that special friend only continued to appear during MK Ultra, just as I described during MK Ultra, that pertained to the skiing issue locally here in the city of the Novo Mesto. You know what I mean? That motherfucker, that fucking friend just would appear and would just disappear. Wherever the fuck he came, he would get, and then again he would disappear, leaving me on my fucking own. You know that song from the Queen, Living on My Own? Yeah, that's exactly how this stuff went. He would come, he would get his shit, and then he would be again gone. Bye-bye, basically. If you leaving you with your schoolmates so they could tear your underwear apart like a piranhas, like you'd be fucking thrown into a fucking piranha with the whole fucking grammar school against you. I don't know about that Irish song, Bloody Sunday, but for me every fucking Bloody Sunday was a fucking Bloody Monday, and it was a Bloody Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, till it was the Saturday. I couldn't fucking cope with so much violence. And these people from London just seems love that shit. It reminds me of that song, Pet Shop Boys, Suburbia, or something like this. You hear those dogs, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, you get the drill, you get the drill. So the last watch that he presented me was, as you would think, this one here, something like this it looked like. And, no, the last one was not, but this was the watch on that bridge. And, it only went downhill. Boy, it was like you fucking sit on a fucking slide or something like this. I hope I'm saying this correctly. And off you go from the hill, you descend, you elevate. You let it go, you let yourself free to fly downhill with those slides to fucking nowhere, man. But like, let's say no brakes, no shit, or like let's say in the car and you go downhill, and the more that you don't have anything you can use as a brake, anything, and till you fucking explode yourself in, you know, in a million pieces, like a little explosion. He was doing this shit to me throughout my life, this kind of stuff. It might have been entertaining to him, but it was more than entertainment. This entertainment, in a case of Honda Legend, let's say, cars, finally ended in year 2000, with 99, in year 99, when I have American psychiatrists, American psychologists losing themselves on a Japanese royals, emperors, actually saying to them inside of our house here in the Novo Mesto that they are actually mentally ill people, explaining about the stuff they did to me, about the Honda Legend. This is how the Japanese were promoting their cars. And it didn't matter what the fuck they did with me, what happened with me afterwards. Well, in the environment, they fucking rip you apart. It really didn't matter. What mattered to them is basically so that they got whatever the hell they wanted. They make a commercial for the Honda, and, you know, goodbye. Off they were, basically. That was it. They didn't give a fuck. What happened with me afterwards, it didn't matter. If they lynch you, if they fucking kill you, whatever the fuck it is, it was like, I see you next time, kid, and, yeah, you see me next time if I'll still be alive, basically. They didn't care. They were doing this shit. This was the life with the royals. They would go out there. Even yesterday when I was writing this stuff here, I had tears in my eyes. I had tears in my eyes when I was writing about this shit yesterday, when I record this stuff. I literally had tears in my eyes. And it was a big fucking deal, this stuff. They would not let, and they would not forget, and they would keep warming it up and demanded for me to write down, because it was very, very mentally ill shit. The stuff here was extremely mentally, it would sicken you, it would make you so mentally ill. In that sense, I can relate to my mental illness, because everything these animals did, I was pulling on myself. All the fucking mental illness they caused, I was pulling on myself. I was quietly taking it, enjoying myself in and suffer and so on. And for them it was just sign to give more pain, more sorrow, which American psychiatrists, psychologists stopped in 1999 with the American politicians going after them and not allowing them even to come here to Slovenia anymore. This is fucking crazy, motherfuckers. This is like a fucking universal scum. Like a fucking universal scum. When it comes to the Japanese, they're just Japanese. I don't have hard feelings. These are just the people over there from Asia that I don't want to go after them, because it's Japan, it's Japanese. They were more making me a favor by being around me, by giving me a company, by giving me attention, than harm. Because they were making like sort of commercial for me, which was really expensive for me. But when it comes to this European stuff here and American, this is like no fucking excuse really for this stuff. This was fucking ugly. This shit was fucking ugly. This so-called white people, this white people fucking ugly stuff. They took no fucking responsibility and expected more. For everything they did, they expected more. More compliance, more patriotism in a parenthesis, more love for nothing. And this is where they take the mental illness from. They take the mental illness from you who serves in the military, you who go and you sacrifice yourself. That's what they teach you. They teach you in the West, they teach you, you do this and you volunteer yourself for that, and you volunteer yourself for this, and you give this and you give that, and you volunteer and so on. And the thing is, the more you volunteer, the more that you give, the more you're mentally ill. The more you're mentally ill. It might not be like this if you're not in MK Ultra case, but if you are in MK Ultra case, you're mentally ill. The more you give, the more they can take advantage of you, the more they fuck you, the more they break you down, the more they fuck you. It's about making an individual mentally ill. These people are very dangerous people. They are very dangerous people. They are terrorists. They're terrorists. They are terrorists. There is a reason why I call them is royal mental illness. And as I said, Prince Harry and Prince William are just as fucking ill. They're even more ill. These motherfuckers were violent with me physically. More mentally ill than Charles. They are ill like this because they can do whatever the hell they want since the day they're born. If they did this stuff like this and somebody broke them their mouth, their nose, they would have looked in the world different. But they always had gorillas. They always had a bodyguards around them. So whatever they do, they bear no fucking consequences. In fact, it's their job apparently to hurt people, to do damage to the people. It might be funny to you. The stuff maybe might even look fun, the stuff that I wrote about here. But when you look deeper into this from the psychology point of view, these are not a good people. These are not a good people. These people are out there to hurt, to cause damage, psychological damage. They were out there to get me killed. That's why I said, you don't fucking say to me ever that you are my ally, that you sided with me, that you were on my side, or that you had any kind of compassion for me, because this is not what you do with the people you're compassionate about. You're just a fucking scum who believed he's going to get away with it without anything. Prince Charles was brazen enough to even suggest me that he had already prepared documentaries about me movie of his own, how he was coming to Slovenia and cherished me and consoled me and helped me psychologically and I don't know what. He did. There's absolutely no doubt about that. They were ripping me apart. They were going to fucking kill me. And he would appear. It really doesn't matter whether he appeared here because of the compassion for me. It really doesn't matter. Or he appeared here because, in other words, because they were going to kill me, or because he appeared here so that I would feel more attached, which is the most likely one, right? So that I will feel more attached to him, ordering them to do violence so that I would be more attached to them. It really doesn't matter, because the difference is none. Because when you start something like this in a country like it was, and you absolutely do nothing about the person, like that's why I like this video about the watches, because it gives a perfect example of this mental royal, not the royal highness, but your royal mental illnessness, fucking illness. Take no fucking responsibility for any of his actions. He just keep coming back to take more help. Man, rip apart absolutely everything with making sure that I would be dead. They started to talk about since maybe 1988, before 1988, 1986, that I have a cancer, 1988, 1986, that I have a cancer. That kind of stuff went on, and they had no fucking cancer. But through the autoimmune diseases, disorders, and so on, they continued to intensify the cancer. They started to grow cancer. And once they started to grow cancer, and cancer became a permanent something, they started to play with the cancer. That's when they started to test the food, all kinds of different foods that they have effect on the cancer. They admitted me that I had one type of cancer. That's a cancer that possibly cannot be denied. That's a cancer on my right side under the jaw, as I explained, the lymph node. And they wouldn't admit me for other types of cancer, which involved anywhere from colon cancer and all the way to prostate and lymph node cancer, lymphoma. They were playing with the different types of cancer, testing different kind of foods. How the fuck can the people like this be normal? How can the people like this be normal? I mean, how can any of this stuff be fucking normal? How the hell can this to you be, as a human being, normal? If you're British or you're American, how the fuck can this stuff be normal to you? It's not. That's why you have all those protests, all kinds of civil rights. And I'm not the only one whom you did this stuff, by the way. The Palestine is in a progress of being exterminated. That's when the human rights become very, very helpful, especially from the point of view when you, people from the civil rights, even did all you possibly could to convince Palestinian people to give up on their homeland and instead come to the United States of America rather than defend one and so on. Man, you are a strange motherfucker. You are a strange circus that traveled to this part of the world. And I want this to be known to the rest of the world. I want the world to understand, to have something out of this, to know who you are, where you are coming from. You ain't gonna fuck another child someplace and do this kind of ugly stuff again to somebody else. You play with a mental illness like handing to one another torture, me through the torture, like you would hand a hot potato, basically. You would be throwing one from one hand to another. This is not the way to do. Finally, what happened was sometimes maybe even a first grade of the already high school or something like that, he came up with another gift by presenting me. There was no interest anymore for the watches. There was a gift of demonstrating me also different colors of this watch. This guy, this German guy who was involved in this from Switzerland, he became a billionaire with the sale of these watches. Then he expanded also from Switzerland to Germany. He became so fucking wealthy using me to sell the stuff. He was selling God knows how many watches these people were fucking selling. This became a mega industry in Switzerland, became extremely wealthy, a fucking nobody practically. They were choosing like small people, and then these people would grow and become extremely wealthy. This did not stay always small. This grew into multi-million-dollar company and then even billion-dollar company and so on. Who knows how much money this individual has these days? Probably factories in China and so on. Maybe this exactly is the company, the factory in China and so on. Well, the way Charles presented this watch, he wanted me to write about, talk about, is by simply meeting with the people that would be manufacturers of this watch. As a matter of fact, sellers through the AliExpress, not manufacturers, the list, and order them basically how he wants to have this watch presented as a watch to the world. I cannot say that the watch is ugly because the watch is still a good looking watch. Would I have this watch? No, I'm not going to have this watch. It's just a really ugly memory. Every fucking watch that I see that has something to do with it, that I was just running away from these people all my life. All my life I was running away from them. Anything that appealed to them, it did not appeal to me. Anything that appealed to them, it started to lose its shine simply because they would not allow me individuality. I don't know how you say that in English, but individuality. My mouths are just whoa from the different language. It would not allow me, it would not give me the space for my individuality. And the worst that your royal illness committed was by presenting me the Omega watch, which was the watch like this. Like this is going to be in the next video. Did I say about this stuff here? 16 years old, you don't enter anywhere inside a room. Okay, this guy was exclusively allowed to enter when he was, you know how old he was when he was allowed to enter? He was 14 years of age. He was actually older, younger. He was 12 years old when he was allowed to enter. 12 years old. So he is 7 years older than I am. So I was about like, a 5 years old kid when I remember him that he would be allowed to enter inside. Even less, maybe 11 years old, I remember him. Our old house, I remember, when he would be allowed to, you know, this is the way the hell this was. This would be my bud, I mean, because he was the youngest one, and he was quite gentle, really. He was really gentle. And this is probably the gentlest one, this one here. Andrew was also quite good. It's not so bad when I was a child, you know. They were not so bad when I was a child. You know, they so knew with me that I would fucking give anything for them. I mean, this was like, you had to be, you know. The thing is that this is the thing. What they would do is they would make their kids, the visitors, get used to their kids. And once they would get used to their kids, they would be so careful when it comes to interaction, bringing anybody on the picture. You don't do just like out of blue. They would be so fucking careful about it. This is the way this stuff was. You're at least 18 years old that you can come, you know, close to the table and maybe pick up a pen or something like this and leave again. and then maybe stop you and ask you if you can come back and this and that. This is the way this stuff was. Maybe 23 to participate, to be like Princess Anne or Charles, you know, even 23, 25, like Cat, snitching around the chimney, or I should say preparing herself, maybe a tea or something like that. No, literally like this. No, I never got any kind of watch from these magic people. Even that I asked them, I also told them, yeah, give me one watch like this. They would never give me a fucking thing. I said, give me a fucking watch. I didn't say give me a fucking watch. I said, give me this watch. I said, and he was looking at me, Andrew, like, I'm just giving you an example. Like, it was a fucking Seiko automatic. I don't know. The fucking watch was, it was a good watch. It was a watch maybe that costed, I don't know. Man, they have watches at least not as good as this, I think. They couldn't have anything like this back then yet. But there was some kind of Seiko automatic, whatever, and I have no fucking idea. That's maybe $100, maybe something like this, something like that. And he was like, he was making a commercial for the Seiko, you know. It would be doing this kind of stuff. And I said, give me the watch, no? And on another occasion, it was, I wouldn't do this unless I liked the watch, unless it was really the watch that I like, you know. And so what they would do is they would tease me and tease me and tease me. They would fucking drive me crazy till I would actually want the fucking watch, you know. And then, nothing. Fucking nothing. Sometimes it would take years to fucking sicken me that I would want the fucking watch. That I really wanted the fucking watch. This is one of the watches, for example, exactly this watch here. This was a type of mental illness that Charles was into. He was selling me this fucking watch. He was selling me this fucking watch, you know, for how long? He was selling me for this. I don't know, is this fucking guy really fucking crazy? I mean, he's gotta be fucking crazy. I know what he was doing. The watch would not even appear to me from the beginning. The watch was like very flashy, that kind of watch. It looked like, again, one of those watches, you know, for like they presented me. This is not for the kids and stuff like that, you know. This is like a real watch. And so you go with a fucking real watch, obviously gold and that kind of stuff, you know. This was Andrew, you know. It's like gold, you know. So under the gold, they already explained to me how much is gold, you know, how much is the father's car and all that, and, you know, it's not worth that shit, and the house is not worth that shit, and this and that, when compared to the watch like this can cost more than a house and I don't know what. And I understood that this is not for the kid and so on. So when I saw one of those watches, I was not even interested. I didn't want to fucking, I said to myself, fucking sell, do whatever the fuck you want to do. As a matter of fact, this was the watch, because of so many watches, golden watches that was sold, that I didn't want to fucking see the fucking watch, because it was not for me. And they were selling the watches that they wouldn't even want me anywhere around, because it just didn't make fucking sense for me to even watch these fucking watches. Because the connection between me and the watch that was 20, 30, 40, 50,000, whatever dollars, it makes no fucking sense. What the fuck am I going to be watching as a child, the watch that is so fucking expensive? So they realized that this is actually true. Like, Phillip realized at one point in time that this doesn't make any fucking sense. So they would get me away, and so this was again one of those watches that was so expensive. But this watch, Charles kept bringing back on a fucking picture. He kept bringing one back and back and back and back on the picture. So he continued to sicken me. And instead of to pull the fucking watch away, he fucked with it. He downgraded this one here, to this here, right? And then what he would do is he downgraded to this one. This is the way it was. You know, this is the way it was. And then what he would do is he would downgrade it to this one. Finally, he would downgrade it to even this one. And this one, when he downgraded to this one, he wouldn't even give me this one. No, sorry, not this one, but this one here. This was the breach experience that I had with him. He fucking laughed at my face with those scumbags over there from police and stuff and around. It fucking laughable, the whole thing that lasted all the way to my first grade of the fucking high school. This was experience that lasted for 4 years. He fucked with this watch, with this type of watch for 4 years. He was doing to me this stuff before he finally came out. And they come after he did this shit to me on the breach. Yeah, that's when he came up with this. That's when he came up with this green and whatever, blue and black and whatever inside. You know what I mean? So this was the procedure to fuck you, to completely fuck you up, dement you basically, to play with you, with your dignity, to make you ill. No, I didn't get any fucking watch. I didn't get any fucking watch. I didn't get any kind of watch. This is Omega. You guessed it. Anadigi means analog digital, and he noticed that I like this type of stuff based on the watch that I had. What the fuck is this here? 2021. I have the watch like this, that is an old watch, okay? Similar to this, it's better looking though. But it's not from the Omega, it's just a copy of the Omega, and it's got also, this is the watch that supposedly Charles gave me. It's the watch, however, I never would wear. And in 2000 and, probably 2022, I was thinking about, just as instructed during MK Ultra, entire village was even involved in this, police. They demanded from me to go and take a hammer and smash the fucking watch, like a heavy hammer that you would use. Take one in the middle of the city, of the village, and smash the fucking watch. They were driving me absolutely insane about this watch. It was the watch that supposedly my aunt from Austria bought me. However, it was the watch that she gave me during MK Ultra. And based on Omega, it was a copy of Omega watch, is that also, you know, the bezel, the rotating bezel. I'm not going to show you in this video. You're going to have to see the video part 2. That watch costed only 20 euros, because Charles figured out that buying me a watch, that's what he claimed, for, I don't know how much this watch costs. Is it 1,000, 2, I don't know, 500, I don't know how much it is. What he would do is, it would cause me a damage. It would be, he's not being allowed to purchase the watch like this. He all the time acted like a Mona. You know Mona? It's, let's say you try to get a girl, and whatever the hell you do, you're not good enough for that girl. So, That girl is just like, whatever you do, it's not good enough for her. And in his case, the watch that would cost $5,000 or $1,000 or $100, obviously, as I said, $100 was too much for him. It would be a trouble. It would man a trouble. Why would a man a trouble? I don't know. Maybe because the Russians would not like it. So it was paranoia, you know, paranoia. Or it would be, I have no idea what the fuck that would be, why that would be. It would appear that he is helping me out, that he is siding me. He always demanded from me to view the conspiracies, everything through the conspiracy. But this conspiracy that he created was actually so fucking huge that it consumed the whole fucking watch market. Because the watch, which was purchased for 20 euros by a boyfriend of my aunt from Austria, who then delivered this watch here. Cyril was his name. Charles claimed that he supplied the store in Austria with this kind of watches, that he launched this type of watch on the market, and you could buy one just for $20. However, it was under a completely unknown brand. However, this watch is a copy of the Omega. So fucking big that Charles told me, you will not find a watch like this, no matter what the fuck you do. You will try to bet, you will try to match the quality of this watch with other watches that are out there on the market. Yes, you will. But for the low cost, for the low money, you will not come anywhere even close to the watch like the one that I gave you. Even that it was just for $20, you will not find one for I don't know how much money, if you will try to find. And it's true. The watch looks like that, except it's a much better looking, with also rotating bezel on it. With a watch band that looks just like the one that you see right there, which is the type of preferred watch band that I embraced during MK Ultra, and it's very thin, so it's not thick, but it's thin, which I also embraced, and it's not big. It's quite small actually especially for the analog digital type of watch. I'm not going to show you this video. Like I said, you're going to have to watch video part number 2. Something I never do, and I never did in any of my 2000 videos, but I guess I'm going to do in this video. You're just going to have to watch part number 2. You see, this is what the people usually do on the YouTube. They say, you're going to have to, they lure people, they dig people, and they make people go see part number 2. People can't wait to see part number 2. I didn't do this kind of stuff. And just for this video, I will do it like this. Because this is one type of mental illness, but the other type of mental illness. The other type of mental illness is that it's like he prohibited, corrupt, the market, the manufacturing of the watches to such a degree that nobody would go and manufacture anything similar to that type of watch, which is quite crazy when you consider the type of watch was for sale for 20 euros. That's what makes it interesting. And he started the war like this with me. He started to drive me insane, guaranteeing me that I would not find a watch like this no matter what the fuck I would do. And it's actually the truth, what I stated. I really couldn't. Well, let me put it this way. At least that watch was nowhere near affordable for a very, very long time. Lately, I've seen some pieces that you could get for less dollars, but still nothing like this you can get anywhere. I haven't seen anything like this that you would be able to afford yourself anything even similar to that. I haven't seen. Actually, they said that watch for the watch like that was given to me supposedly already in I don't know what year, because the watch was in a drawer and I would not even touch one. I wouldn't even look at that watch. I had a headache just by thinking about that watch. Why? Because he did not give me one. It was my aunt. So it could be that this was his watch, and it could be that this was not his watch. In other words, it was like I was like a bastard, basically. You know what a bastard child is? I mean, it's like, I'm not going to say like the daddy would not want to recognize you. But my God, was I really so stupid? I mean, was I really so stupid, or what the hell was it that I was just so unworthy for him to step to me and say, hi, my name is such and such, you know, I'm the man you would otherwise meet during MK Ultra, and so on and so forth. And by the way, I'm from Britain and I'm also a prince and that kind of stuff. You know, it acted like like some kind of girl. In one way, he projected a confidence, like certainty, like asserted like that he know that what he was doing precisely and everything. On the other hand, looking at this from above the surface, match this to how friendships are made, how relations are built. This did not look normal in absolutely any way. From my point of view, not. Really not. And for me, it's very important, the introduction, the proper etiquette when it comes to meeting people, interacting with the people. Unless you meet some good-looking girl. I am not a royal or a elite or high society interested in one. I'm just not interested, because you are such a hypocrisy that I have absolutely no fucking respect for you. You are just a facade. And I am pissed off. I'm very angry about this. I'm very angry about the clowns, especially younger you generations, that you dare to clown in my face. It's unbelievable the disrespect that you had and so on. It's unbelievable that what you allowed yourself. It's unbelievable. It's truly, truly unbelievable. I quite good understand myself. Why it was like this, why. And so he did so with this watch. He did with this watch like this, so that simply that he would prove me that I'm not capable to buy myself my own watch that would match the watch that he gave me. Although he never gave me the watch. The watch was eventually was given to me by my aunt. And the watch supposedly costed 20 euros. 15 euros, 20 euros. They had me inside of the store picking up that watch. And I did not know it was my aunt with her husband, that when they had me in that small store in Austria, when they were picking that watch for me. And so this is insult, you know, that's very, very heavy insult. I was so mad that when I recall all that stuff, I was actually thinking about, I was boiling, because the watch I am talking about, its meaning of the watch was concentrated on proving me that I could not find a watch that would match the qualities of the watch that he provided for me for just a little fraction of the price. I was mad, because you're saying to me, basically, what the fuck are you saying to me? You're saying to me that there is nothing without you that I can do. There's nothing without you I can have. And the only way I can have is by your handing me a cheap products, which, however, are going to be so fucking good as if I would spend thousands of euros on them. But you cannot do stuff like this to the people. You cannot do the stuff like this to the people. And this is what Prince Charles magnified himself through the AliExpress, Alibaba, this kind of stuff. It was like, oh, it's just like the stuff we had. And it was just a few dollars or a few euros or whatever it was. And again, oh, it was like just like this one like we used to have. And that one, do you remember that one? Just like the one we used to have. But what the fuck is this? What kind of joke is this? This is a sick joke. What are you trying to sell to me here, man? What the fuck are you trying to sell to me here? If you want, enroll yourself in a Chinese Communist Party, if that's what you like. I don't know, maybe you court the Chinese Communist Party, business-wise, relations' sake. That's fine, that's okay. Yeah, I don't have the problem with the Chinese Communist Party. I don't care. But what the fuck were you trying to sell it to me, this, through the poverty, through the total poverty, through total denial to exist, and through the cancer and stuff like this. Broken spine and stuff like this. That I could not be basically standing upright like a human being, like a normal human being. That's a fucking mental illness, the most severe mental illness. You're fucking mentally ill, man. You're so fucking mentally ill. You're so fucking mentally ill that every human being should know how mentally ill the fuck you are. You fucking son of a bitch. You and your family, basically. Not only you. There must have been a copy of the... No, the watch no longer was allowed to be produced, manufactured, cheap, for less. Simply because it was the companies like Omega that could make money with it. It's a simple thing. What they do is they buy the exclusive manufacturing license from you as a manufacturer. They pay you for you to shut up, basically. This shit's happening all the time. That stuff is happening all the fucking time. It happens all the time, that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is about a watch like this, basically. This is from Adidas. Actually, it's better looking than this, way better looking than this. That's Casio. But it's got a window down below and that kind of stuff. And he got the idea about this kind of watch because I had another watch. It's somewhat similar to this watch I'm talking about. But it doesn't have a seconds and so on. And the window, what you see, the digital display, is straight. And it's clean, good visibility and so on. This is just a watch that caused me a lot of trouble with a cousin from Austria that was coming here, all obsessed with that watch, looking at that watch and wanting the watch for himself and so on. Fucking madness. It's got a window, it looks like the watch I demonstrated earlier, but the window with the digital display is only one right on the bottom window that you see. Something like that it looks like. I'm not going to be showing you that watch, it's a separate video. I want you to understand what Charles had in his head when he was supposedly, there's no really proof that he gave me that watch, when he supposedly gave me that watch. That watch has never been worn by me. It was worn by the cousin from Austria that was coming here and goof himself with that watch. And in 2022, I truly, when I recall all this stuff, they promised me that no matter what the fuck I do, I'm not going to find a watch that's going to be, and all based on psychiatric evaluation from MK Ultra. Was using MK Ultra to evaluate the stuff that I like, and then present me exactly that type of watch to promise me that I'm not going to find a better watch or a watch just as good looking as that one, no matter what the fuck I would do. I mean, this is really the crazy stuff. I mean, the craziest stuff that I never heard of anything so insane. Yet, I have the watch, and I'm going to demonstrate it to you. Never wear that watch. I'm never going to wear that watch. I might actually take a hammer and smash that fucking watch. It just makes me angry every time I see that watch. It makes me mad. He said, there'll be nothing until you wear that watch. That's what he said to me. Charles, there'll be nothing until you wear that watch. Now, you know what? You don't talk to me like this. This is not how you talk to me, boy, like this. You don't talk to me like this. Every bagger in this world, if they go to work, they have the money. What you have done to the work, what you have done to me, that is never going to classify you as somebody that I'm going to be wearing your watch the way you did not approach to me as a friend. If you didn't give me the watch that would be your watch, that would be a gift from you. It would be meaningful, even if you would be, even there will be a watch for $1 or $2 or wherever the fuck watch would be. If you don't come and you tell me, no matter what watch you will, and this and that, you will not find better watch and so on, and this and that. This is everything, and pretend like it's a watch that is worth, I don't know, $1,000 or $500 or whatever, and I should see one as the watch that you gave me when in fact you never gave me the fucking watch. This is not the stuff you do to the people. This is not the stuff you do to the people. No wonder that you needed the MK Ultra to do the stuff like this to the people. Because, yeah, this, you have to be a especially sick individual, especially mentally ill, to actually go and do such a it's so pedophilic stuff to somebody, so cowardly, so backstabbing, so really pedo stuff that is unprecedented. Yeah, the part number 2 is going to be about that watch, but I just wanted to clarify about that watch right there. Every royal had this. They demonstrated me proudly this stuff here when I came to Britain. They were showing me this stuff. I already told you about the German manufacturer. I didn't bother with this Swiss watch manufacturers, but it was a German from Switzerland who eventually expanded also into Germany to manufacture watches. Germans don't make any fucking watches no more. They used to make watches that made sense, and they stopped worrying about the watches long time ago. They just gave that to Chinese. They manufacture them, talking about quartz, everything, in China is much cheaper, but what the hell, Volvo is also made in China, and all the car parts from the Volkswagen and so on, a long time ago they used to make them in China. So not all of them, I guess, they're gonna be smoking about it. They make so much money already on a Chinese market that if I say this or I don't say, they have really nothing to smoke about. So all I wanted to, it's not my idea to sell you this watch. This watch is a fairly good looking watch. It cannot be denied that this is a good looking watch. They don't sell this type of watch, and not this. This is what I created by myself. I did this stuff on my own by copy pasting those belt bands into he was drilling me even on which band that he preferred, what kind of band that he preferred, the black one or brown one. It mattered to him even that I would remember that kind of stuff. Yeah, this one does not exist, this type of stuff. I created this kind of stuff. This exists. I just copy-pasted this stuff. This does not exist. I created this kind of stuff to give you the idea about the stuff that went on. He wanted me to remember which watch band pertained to whom. Let me just see this here. Well, so I really don't know which one. They all had their own also, whichever watch band and so on. They were explaining me about that stuff. Actually sounds like they were trying to help me out and this and that and so on. Yeah, it turned out, this shit really turned out to be really, it turned out really ugly, this whole thing. And when it comes to Japanese royal family, they were involved in this kind of stuff, in the watch brainwash with F91 and first digital watches. In this entire watchmaking industry, this stuff. It is true. It is true. Timex was the one who sold the watch to the Japanese, the first one. And Bill Clinton just happens to know all about that kind of stuff. And it was all organized crime through this case that went on. Everything. That's where you have the Casio and all that digital stuff popping up. They were doing this stuff since I was a baby. They were driving me crazy with these things. And I'm lucky. I did not buy a Honda CRX. All through, this was my dream car, beautiful car, Japanese Honda CRX. I'm lucky I did not buy them. And the car I wrote about, the car that brought tears to my eyes yesterday, I'm lucky I didn't buy one either. I'm very lucky I didn't buy one. If you just want to go and see the crash test of these Hondas, they are horrific. You are as good as dead as in any of this car, including in this one. Despite being such a much bigger car, if you had a car crash, you'd be fucking dead in any of these cars very, very easily. They were the shittiest car test safety cars. Safety-wise, the shittiest cars in the world. With maybe the only shittier than this, maybe some French Renault or something like that. All the cars back then were bad cars when it comes to the safety, but this here was exceptionally shitty car. All through a bigger than Honda Accord, this was a really, really, really shitty, safety-wise, shitty car. I have seen the car crash from the Honda Prelude. It was horrific. And they don't even dare to put the car crash test about the Honda Legend on the internet. You know, that tests they do, they conduct the tests to see these older cars, how they would respond to a crash test. And this was not a better car than Mercedes. The Mercedes, safety-wise, the smallest Mercedes would eat this car any fucking time of the day. Any day of the year. Anywhere. The worst cars, safety-wise, used to be a Honda cars, the worst of the worst. With a Honda CRX, they call it a casket on the road, not because it was small and fast, but simply because it was really a death. It was just a matter of you killing yourself. Horrific safety features, crash test features. I was lucky. This car brought me a fortune because it made me happy, because instead of spending the money, I gave one to my wife, which I regulated. I allow her to take money here and there for the bills, but when this sale fell apart, because I was not really interested in buying a car anytime soon. To have the car, you have to have the way to maintain the car, and so without being allowed to work and stuff like this, it appeared there was be some time before I could go and buy myself a car, and the bills had to be paid. And so I said to my wife, you can take all the car money and use that for the bills and stuff like that, and forget about the car. We're gonna buy one next time, and so on. So in that sense, it was really maybe the best car I ever had. Never owned one. I got him by the surprise with this Honda Legend that I wanted so badly. Even yesterday, it was so painful for me to ride this stuff. But at the end, it actually paid off exactly the way it was. It was actually a luck, probably, that I didn't have. It was a very fast car. Any of these Hondas were really fast. Very bad, really, for the young kid and stuff, driving and so on. And I was not any special when I was young. I was not any good kid when it comes to driving and stuff like this. I was just in a bad situation. I was just really in a bad place. Everything mentally wise, confused about everything, about the stuff, with stuff that went on. It was just, I'm thinking about, I was in a horrific place in this world. State of mind, basically, as I was in, is, I think, terrifying. Without with this insecurity in the stuff they were doing with me, playing, and with the jobs and this and that, with the job search and so on, this was a fucking madness. I would be knocking on the doors of the employers throughout Miami that became involved in MK Ultra, and they tortured me and promised me how I would be searching for the job, applying for the job. And it was not only Miami. They did this stuff in Sweden, they did this stuff in Germany, they did this stuff in Austria, they did this stuff absolutely throughout the Slovenia and so on. This could end very badly, this whole fucking thing. You're going on a job search to Texas, paying out of your own pocket or wherever place you go, and they tell you, wow, the Texas did not, they allow me to stay there and get at least my money back for the ticket. But imagine, I spent time traveling without ever getting any compensated for the traveling even, and for the lost time, and for crazy overnight traveling and stuff like this, just to report myself to a certain company where supposedly I would start a training job, and then being presented stupid stuff without making any sense, to stay there for another 5 minutes basically, payment wise, job wise. Illegal, basically, based on the US labor laws and so on stuff. Crazy stuff, mad stuff. They were doing all kinds of stuff, expecting that I'm going to get myself into violence and involving people in MK Ultra, employers and people that engage in violence, and waiting on you that you're going to come there and madness. Start fight and this and that and so on. This is just madness. Madness. And these people call themselves royals. It's a world of royals. Like I said, when it comes to the Japanese, especially Naruhito, he did everything he possibly could to make it up for it. After the psychiatrists went after them on a tail in 2000, Americans did. And they were not allowed to even come no more then. It was very, very bad stuff. They took a note, very serious note. They yelled at me, screamed at me, what the fuck I did to them and so on. It was a total incredible stuff that happened to the Japanese royal family because of this stuff. It was unprecedented. They were told like this in the circle of the Illuminatis, stuff like that. I really appreciate this stuff. These American psychiatrists who did this stuff. This was really courageous. I did not even understand at the time. I did not understand anything. I just lived. I didn't even know what the hell I lived for. It was a life without any purpose. This is how bad this was. And but today, when I look back, I actually really want to thank for that stuff. Naruhito took initiative to present me in the world of the Japanese cars from the perspective that wanted to motivate me, like there were some ideas, they got it from me, from my sketches and stuff, pictures and stuff like this. Not really, they have top of the line designers from all over the world and so on, but no, they try to make me feel special and so on. Maybe it was something like that too, maybe. Yeah. Things happen, really they happen for the reason. I think I did have God next to me because there was always something that it just happened for some reason that I would not even learn after a very long time afterwards that about things. Like really with the reason things did not came together somehow that could have a potential for bad stuff to happen. They smashed into me in Miami and on my way to the post of the Wacanut. I think the year was 2000, where the guy threw the fucking red light, came from the side. Basically I had a green light and the fucking guy comes with a Dodge Ram and just smashed me from the side with a Volvo 240. No, it could not kill me because he hit the rear of the car, but how about if I was in this car and I was just maybe 1 second too late through that light or some other light like this, and maybe I wouldn't be anywhere. You know, a lot of stuff like this that I'm just grateful to God to be it that way. The thing about this, see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing, gods. This is when ordinary people become gods, nobodies. I don't remember you. I don't recall. I don't remember you. Yeah, you become gods. You're gods. Yeah, I mean, you dare to fuck with somebody like this, you must be God. You're no workers. You're not ordinary people when you do the stuff like this, especially to somebody like this. You must be gods then. The thing about the stuff like this is that I do believe in God. And, you know, you guys should understand one thing, that you substituted God. When you behave like gods, then you must be gods. But the time is going to come when you're going to be begging for the God. And the God is not going to be able to help you because you guys are gods. What sense the hell does it make to pray God, to beg God and for forgiveness and beg Him for help and I don't know what, if you guys are gods? The way you guys presented yourself to God, you guys presented yourself to God as gods. So there's very little left to God in your world. This is, well, this might be not necessary. So it probably makes no sense to beg him for forgiveness and for help and I don't know what. After all, he's just a god and all of you are gods. So what the hell can one more god do for you? Not much. All your culture, this MK Ultra culture, is a bullshit culture. You don't have any class. You think you have class and you think about yourself highly and you think you're something and you're... The truth is, you're fucking nobodies. I can see through you. I can really, really see through you. You guys are a bunch of scum. Pedos. Classic. Same shit. Different wrapping, basically. That's all there is to it. Charles was trying to intimidate me during MK Ultra. He gestured that... he demanded from me to see this stuff here, the watches that I demonstrated you, and this here, for you. It's for you, so that you too can have it. I mean, this is not mental use shit. This is not sick. This shit is not fucking sick. It's not sick. It's not sick stuff to tell somebody like this. It's not to somebody like this, to treat him like this, to do this with somebody like this. It's not. If this is not fucking sick, then I am fucking sick. But to me, for me personally, this is very, very sick. Shit I was talking to you about this video is extreme, is a extreme sickness. It's a terrible sickness. It's a terrible fucking sickness. I hope that British, you're not gonna die like a dogs, like the stuff they did with me. And I wish the same to Americans and to everybody. This is like a treating human being like less than a dog. You have your little Tsar over there, Donald Trump, that see it this way too. Just like, I mean, I don't have to go to details about this stuff. And these people never made life easy. These people, all they wanted to do is they wanted to make life impossible. The one who was out there and pushed forward mercilessly was a communist China. And in this world of madness, which no longer allow them to charge for the watch $5,000 and I don't know what dollars, and 20 and 30 and 50 and 100,000 and more dollars. These copies, these replicas and of the Seiko even appeared. Forget about Rolex and all that, Omega and so on. And for just a fraction of that price, watch that you could purchase, and if anything went wrong, God forbid, you could just go and buy yourself another one instead, making Casio look as the watch that could be, at least in many cases, replicated with a cheaper option. Casio watches are still top of the line, and so is Seiko and Citizen and so on, but talking about lower end of the watches, like also watch here that you don't have to go and wreck yourself completely. But and this is good, this is nice, but I don't understand how the fuck I would see myself in a lifelong unemployment and psychiatry and all that stuff. I mean, I don't fucking get you, man. I don't fucking get you, other than what I explained. You must be really the sickest motherfucker in the universe. It's not about whether you are mentally ill or not. There is something a lot terribly wrong with you. If you think that a human being should just settle for something like this, somebody from the western part of the world, and you absolutely did everything possible for me not to even finish grammar school. You think that we should take you as a role model, that you should be the one people should look forward to? I think people are terribly wrong that do that stuff, except that they are corrupt, they are criminal, and you have a lot of people to choose from to sicken people with coin spinning, basically, that people run after through the rat race and nobody ever gets anywhere, other than selected few and so on, that probably mostly involve your family and so on. This is not the way to go from any human being, I think. And I'm not a communist. I'm not a communist, but man, the stuff that I tell you is the stuff that your Marines, your MI5, your Scotland Yard people, your government people should deeply think about. Who the hell are you working for? Like, going beyond the politics. What kind of people the hell are you working for when it comes to the royal? What the fuck is this thing? You can have Rolls Royce and you do Jaguars and you continue to pose over there with a big smile all over the face. You can do clown all you want. Pretend all it's normal. But this shit is not normal. This stuff is not normal under any circumstances. It's more deadly than a Stalinism. You have a lot of people homeless all over the place. It's all kinds of stuff that's happening behind your fake mainstream media news, in which you even implicated me, so that one day you could prove how well even he was implicated in. We even tortured him at whatever ICE facility with protesters to prove whatever, that he is mentally ill, to prepare for the war in Ukraine, to prepare for the war, actually complete extermination procedure of Gaza. But behind all that stuff, it's the real people that die, it's the real tragedies out there, it's the real people who paid the price for it all. And overall, more than anything else, it's you, the people, the middle class and the upper class, who rely exactly on what? As the world is heading towards technology, more and more technological, complete control through the technology, you will be more and more decided. Your fate about you, your fate will more and more decide about the royals, about the people who sit right at the top. They're going to have more and more control and more power. And this is the people. This is the people. This is who I describe. That's why this shit should worry you. It should worry you. It's not good. You may want to think about this stuff. You saw it right here on Google Author Times. This is part 1. And the part 2 is really going to blow lid of your rooftops. I mean, your heads. I'll be discussing about that watch. Yeah, you see me who it is with this article. A report. Thanks for watching this video. Not as usual, that as I would be jolly and excited, that I would say, I see this whole thing as a big loss, as a tremendous loss. Lost 54 years to this shit. I don't see this as a loss. I'm not ready to cry, but I have to ask myself exactly what it takes for the truth to be heard. I mean, manipulated video views, manipulated blog views, manipulated, absolutely everything manipulated, fake, blocked, censored, even taken off the internet. Just so that you could have the promenade of the European politicians, organized crime, American politicians, you know, in a parenthesis, do their job and so on. It's weird. It's a weird kind of democracy. It's a weird direction that humanity have taken. All the negotiations, everything was done through me, using me. If it was up to me, I would decline absolutely every agreement that the United States of America, NATO, Britain, Germany, Western Europe established throughout MKUltra, and with the India and with the China and with the rest of the world and so on. I will fucking cancel every fucking thing, because I see that you took advantages of this stuff in such an unprecedented, most criminal way possible, that I know for sure that destiny with you is destiny to hell, not only for me but for entire humanity. This is not, it's not a betrayal. It's like I have written here. You do this to the people that are not of your kind. You don't do this to your people. You do this to the people that are not your kind. You know, it's done to the people that are not of your sort. You do this to foreign people. You do this to people that are not your kind, because, of course, this degree of violence was justified. It was rationalized. You rationalize one. And I do not believe that they would allow you to do this to your people. They're not so fucking crazy. They're not so drunk over there in your House of Commons. They're not so fucking crazy in your British Parliament. They know when it's enough, and they already stopped you many times. But I am a foreign person, a foreign figure, whom you did play nicely like this. Destroyed him. 2 citizenships, no less. And you could do anything you wanted to do. And you believe you're still going to do it. You still can do. Now, look, 2026, I didn't even believe I'm going to live to 2026. And the truth is leaking out little by little. Every video in your documentary that you threatened me with, how you will release about me, has got less and less potential. Your lies have less and less potential. With every fucking video that I release, the people are getting more and more idea about who you really were in this case. There is just one more here that I have to say about this stuff. It's very important that I mention. He started to fuck with the watches, unlike with any other watches when it comes to these watches. In fact, the first thing he did is he made a sale. He sold watches, collected the money, as much as money he could collect. Then what he would do is he concentrated on the police. This was the first watch that was also that surpassed that golden standard for the watch. They had some kind of golden standard, whatever the fuck they talk about, what is, must be, so that the golden standard can be fulfilled. And then what he did was, the British Royals did, then what they did, they concentrate on a market that would be more accessible even to the police officers and stuff like this. And he went on to impress the police officers, even the people who purchased this stuff. Then there was others that, like police officers, started to express really the interest for this watch. Local here in the city of Novo Mesto. I don't know if anybody went and buy this. Apparently they did. But the first thing, it was this golden standard. And after the golden standard was completed, he ran that shit for maybe even 2 years. Then he went on and he changed and he made this more and more accessible also to a broader public. This was the first watch that was involved in MKUltra, a royal watch that was like this. They had all kinds of other watches. They would trade during meetings to entertain people. Yeah? It's interesting what I told you, reminded you of the Josip Broz Tito and Jovanka, how it was. They were the first one who sit at the table. Once they were done doing all that stuff, choosing whatever you brought with you, then it was other people that were involved in it, and the Yugoslav generals and the politicians and so on. You're not going to say, I don't remember about the stuff that went on, how you did it, whom you were meeting with, and so on. And it was this watch that he signaled me that this was the watch. This was the watch for you. That the stuff I'm talking about, this is the watch for you. This was the watch for you. This is how it all started when he came with this watch. It would go like this 4 more years before I would meet him on that bridge over there. And he started to fuck with this watch. You know? Oh, he expected me, Charles expected me for me to say, oh, I don't want this watch. I want at least the watch like this. He expected me to say that, but it was not like this. I said I wanted this watch, and he wanted to put in my mouth watch that I didn't want this kind of watch, that I wanted this kind of watch, golden watch. He tried to do that, son of a bitch. He tried to do that. He video recorded himself with everything. You fucking murderous British swine. You fucking fuck. You dirty little fuck. You dirty little fuck. You, Charles. You dirty little fuck. I remind you about the stuff how you did. It almost escaped me about the whole thing about the stuff that went on. He actually wanted to portray me as somebody who was a voracious materialist, somebody who would not even take watch like this from him. And when he could not realize this type of sale, which he created for his video camera, when that did not work, then finally he threw on a table also this type of stuff here. Eventually what happened was I cursed him out. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. He would do this kind of stuff until I would curse him out and told him to get lost. And then he would go back in the nature with me, and he was again try to troll me with other watches and stuff like this that I will be capable to buy and what he suggests me and so on. This is a dirty fuck, mentally ill fuck. This whole fucking royal family, it's a bunch of fucks. Mentally ill fucks. I would surely not want from these motherfuckers other than through the court. Other than to put me, my boot behind your throat and squeeze you into the fucking ground. With an order from the judge. With a court, through the court. You fucking son of a bitch. Expose you for people to recognize you who the fuck you are. That's when you king. That's when I king. That's when I am king. That's when people admit that you are a son of a bitch, that you are a fucking mentally ill son of a bitch. You and your family. That's meaningful to me. The rest of it is shit. That's a reward.